6 signs. She hides her love from you. Watch these clues. Psychology tips. Have you ever noticed how a woman can be part of your life yet still make you question if the connection is even real? If that sounds familiar, stay with me because this is where many good men get confused and slowly walk away from something meaningful. There's a saying that fits perfectly here. Love doesn't always speak through words. Sometimes it speaks through restraint. And that's the heart of today's message. At times, her emotions are intense on the inside, but on the outside, she looks calm, guarded, or even distant. Not because she feels nothing, but because what she feels risky to her emotional safety. So, before you judge her based on what you see on the surface, understand this. When feelings feel unsafe, love often shows itself in indirect ways. You might expect clear affection, sweet words, or obvious interest. But when a woman is afraid of how deep things are getting, she may do the opposite. She keeps her voice neutral. She jokes it off. She acts independent. She creates just enough space to feel protected, while still staying connected to you in quiet ways. That push and pull behavior isn't always manipulation. Most of the time, it's an inner battle. Desire on one side, fear on the other. She wants closeness, but she's protecting herself from rejection, from losing control, from being the one who cares more. And this is where many men get it wrong. They think, if she liked me, I'd know. Not always. Some women don't hide their feelings because they're weak. They hide them because they're strong. Attraction isn't always loud. Sometimes the deepest emotions are the ones trying hardest to stay hidden. So if you want the truth, don't just listen to what she says. Pay attention to what leaks through, how she keeps showing up, how she stays nearby, how her focus keeps returning to you, even when her words never admit it. If you miss these subtle signals, you'll misunderstand her completely. You'll walk away thinking she didn't care, when in reality she cared enough to be scared. 1. She remembers tiny details about you, but acts like it was nothing. Listen closely because this is where most men overlook what's right in front of them. When a woman remembers the smallest things about you but pretends it's no big deal, that's not random. That's emotional focus. That's psychology at work. Maybe you once mentioned a childhood story, a favorite meal from years ago, a dream you quietly gave up on. Weeks later, she casually brings it up. Oh, didn't you say you used to love that place? She says with a relaxed tone. A slight shrug, eyes looking away, like it means nothing. Don't ignore that. That's not coincidence. That's emotional investment. That's her mind sharpening its memory around you. One of the most powerful psychological signs of growing feelings is heightened attention. When someone matters, the brain marks it. It saves it. It protects it. When she's trying hard not to reveal her true feelings, her subconscious is still paying close attention to you. She may act uninterested. She may joke right after saying something personal. She may quickly switch topics so it doesn't look like she was listening too closely. Don't mistake that for lack of interest. That's emotional self defense. If she openly shows how much she notices, she risks exposing her heart. And when she's unsure where she stands with you, that feels unsafe. So she hides care inside casual behavior. She masks devotion as coincidence. Understand this clearly. A woman who truly doesn't care forgets. She doesn't save your stories. She doesn't notice your mood changes. She doesn't remember that you were nervous about a meeting last week and quietly ask how it went. When she remembers your stress before you bring it up, when she checks on something that mattered to you without being reminded, when she senses a shift in your tone before you explain it, that is emotional awareness. And emotional awareness rarely exists without deeper feelings. This is how love grows quietly and slowly through attention, memory, and presence. But she won't announce it. She won't say, I think about what you tell me. Instead, she'll act like it just came to mind. Don't be naive. Be aware. Watch the pattern, not the performance. Female psychology often protects vulnerability by hiding it in plain sight. She may even minimize how much she remembers because remembering creates intimacy. It shows that you matter. It reveals that she's been thinking about you when you weren't around. And if she doesn't know whether you feel the same, she won't risk exposing her emotional position too quickly. That's one of the oldest attraction strategies. Hide the depth until safety is confirmed. You must understand this contrast. Loud affection is common. Quiet attention is rare. Anyone can flatter you. Very few will truly study you. When she remembers the exact words of a dream you once shared, when she brings up a small preference you mentioned casually, when she notices your silence and connects it to something you said days ago, that's not automatic friendliness. That's selective focus. That's the mind protecting what it's afraid to lose. And this is where mature men stand apart from boys. Don't rush to point it out in a joking way. Don't embarrass her by saying, wow, you remember everything about me. Stay steady. Stay calm. Let her feel secure in that space. If you expose emotional depth too quickly, she may pull back. Remember, she isn't hiding because she's playing games. She's hiding because strong feelings make people cautious, especially when past experiences have taught her that giving too much too soon can lead to disappointment. Emotional openness feels risky, so she manages it carefully. She reveals just enough, she protects the rest. That's female psychology working quietly beneath the surface. If you're paying attention, you'll notice it in the small details she keeps. If you're careless, you'll miss it and assume she's just being nice. Don't make that mistake. Be precise in how you observe. Ask yourself, does she remember things about everyone or mostly about me? Does she bring up my stress, my goals, my preferences when it actually matters? Does she slightly adjust her behavior based on something I once said? Those aren't accidents. Those are signs of emotional consideration. And emotional consideration is often the first stage of falling in love. Without admitting it, the heart moves first. The words come later. Memory shifts before confessions appear. Many men look for dramatic statements. They want obvious proof. But real connection grows quietly. It grows through small references, soft callbacks, almost hidden check-ins. That's why understanding psychology gives you an advantage. Not to manipulate, but to interpret correctly. Because misunderstanding destroys potential. If you ignore it, you may never develop something meaningful. If you push too hard, you might scare it away. So stay composed, stay grounded. When she remembers something small about you and acts like it's nothing, smile lightly. Keep the conversation flowing. Let her see that her attention is safe with you. That's how love grows with maturity, not through chastened declarations, but by recognizing devotion disguised as coincidence. In the end, love rarely arrives with fireworks. It reveals itself through consistency, memory, and subtle care. Pay attention to what she quietly holds onto about you. That's where the truth lives. 2. She pulls back right after moments of connection. Here's the second sign most men misunderstand. And if you don't get this, you may ruin something that was slowly developing. She creates distance right after emotional closeness. You share a deep conversation. You laugh in a way that feels effortless and private, like the rest of the world disappeared for a moment. The eye contact lasts longer. The mood softens. The energy shifts from casual to meaningful. And just when you think things are opening up, she replies slower. Her tone becomes more neutral. She seems busy, a little distant, harder to read. Don't panic. Don't chase. Don't assume her interest disappeared overnight. Be alert. Be aware. That shift didn't happen before the connection. It happened after it, and that's the clue. Closeness activates vulnerability when a woman is trying to manage strong feelings. Emotional intimacy can overload her nervous system. The connection is exactly what she wants, but it's also what frightens her. Because once there's real connection, there is real risk. Now you matter more than she expected. Now there's something to lose. And when emotions grow faster than comfort, the instinct isn't always to move closer. Sometimes it's to create space. Distance becomes her way to breathe. Not permanent distance, not disappearing. Just enough room to calm the intensity inside her. That isn't confusion. That's female psychology protecting itself. Understand this clearly. Disinterest doesn't suddenly appear right after emotional closeness. Indifference doesn't peak right after laughter that felt meaningful. Timing matters. A high-value man pays attention to timing. He doesn't just react to actions, he studies patterns. If she becomes slightly distant only after deep moments, not after boredom, not after conflict, but after warmth, that's not rejection. That's emotional self-defense. Her nervous system is saying, slow down, this feels real. Many men fail here. They feel the pullback and immediately increase their effort. More texts, more questions, more pressure. Don't do that. That's reactive energy. That's insecurity talking. Stay steady. Hold your frame. Masculine energy stays calm during emotional shifts. When you remain grounded, you show her that being close to you doesn't bring chaos, and that creates deep attraction. Stability is magnetic. Here's what's really happening beneath the surface. Emotional intimacy moved faster than her comfort zone. Maybe she didn't expect to feel this much. Maybe she promised herself she would stay guarded. Maybe past experiences taught her that opening up too soon leads to pain. So after that warm moment, she steps back to rebalance. She isn't stepping away from you. She's stepping away from how exposed she suddenly feels. That difference matters. You need to see it. Watch what happens next. Give it a few days. Does she come back? Does she restart the conversation? Does she send something random to reconnect? A meme? A question? A small check-in? That's her drifting back once the emotional wave settles. A woman who feels nothing slowly fades away. No return, no re-engagement, no curiosity. But a woman who feels too much will pull back, recalibrate, and then return when she feels safe again. Don't label this as games. It's not a planning session happening in her head. It's emotional regulation. Her heart speeds up. Her mind applies the brakes. That push and pull response is classic female psychology. It happens when attachment starts forming before she's ready to admit it. And if you are a high-value man, you don't fall apart in that rhythm. You don't overreact. You don't withdraw out of pride. You stay centered. This is where masculine energy matters most. Not loud, not aggressive. Calm, composed, confident. When she pulls back slightly, you give her space without resentment. You keep living your life, you stay productive, you stay focused. That quiet strength communicates safety better than any speech ever could. Women are naturally drawn to men who can ride emotional waves without drowning in them. That's how you attract women on a deeper emotional level. Let's be clear. Don't chase distance. Don't punish it. Don't send emotional messages demanding explanations. Be patient. Let her nervous system settle. If her feelings are real, she will come back around. And when she does, don't interrogate her about the gap. Don't say, "Why did you disappear?" That immediately puts her on defense. Instead, match her energy calmly. Continue building things slowly and naturally. This sign separates reactive men from grounded men. A high-value man understands that emotional intensity can scare someone who didn't expect to care. He doesn't take temporary distance personally. He looks at the full pattern. Pullback followed by return equals growing attachment mixed with caution. Slow, steady drifting equals fading interest. Learn the difference. If you want to master connection, stop reacting to single moments. Start observing cycles. Emotional rhythm always reveals the truth. And when you stay calm during her pullback, you become the safe place her feelings can finally rest. That is power. Quiet power. That is masculine energy in action. If this resonated with you, don't misread her distance again. Don't chase. Don't panic. Don't assume you lost her. Stay steady. Stay grounded. Be the man who understands that when she pulls back after connection, it's not rejection, it's regulation. That's your moment to remain calm while she recalibrates. If you've noticed this pattern before, drop a comment right now. I stay centered when she pulls away. Like this video. Subscribe for more sharp psychological insight. And remember, when feelings get real. 3. She teases you in ways that feel personal, but laughs it off like it's nothing. Listen closely because this is where most men completely misread the situation and lose ground without even realizing it. When a woman teases you in ways that feel directed at you, then quickly laughs it off as if it meant nothing, don't dismiss it as random humor. Study it carefully. The average man hears the joke and reacts on the surface. A seasoned man hears the emotion underneath. The teasing isn't accidental, it's specific. It targets your habits, your quirks, the little details about you, things only someone paying attention would notice. That isn't indifference. That's focus. As Maya Angelou said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. When she consistently teases you about the way you order your coffee, the way you pause before telling a story, or how you act like you don't care, she's showing you that she sees you. People don't study what they don't value. Now look at this through the lens of old Stoic wisdom. Human beings protect what makes them vulnerable. Direct affection is risky. A compliment exposes interest. A soft confession reveals the heart. Teasing, on the other hand, gives her cover. It allows closeness without confession. It creates engagement without surrender. This isn't manipulation, it's self-protection. Modern life has taught people to guard their emotions. Dating apps, social media, public rejection, private disappointment. Everyone is more cautious now, so affection rarely shows up wrapped in softness. Often it comes disguised as humor. You mustn't react emotionally. Hold a steady mind, smile lightly, stay centered, Don't get defensive. Don't become needy. When you remain calm, you communicate strength without aggression, awareness without insecurity. That's stoicism in action. Here's the critical pattern you cannot ignore. Her teasing is targeted. It's never random. If she were indifferent, her jokes would be shallow, generic, forgettable. But when she recalls that one awkward story you told months ago and playfully brings it up, that's proof she stored it. She cataloged it. She attached emotion to it. Yes, she laughs, but watch carefully. There's a tiny pause after the joke, a glance to gauge your reaction, a softness in her eyes that contradicts the playful tone. That split second, that's the truth. That's the moment her guard drops. That's where hidden affection grows. Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "Invisible threads are the strongest ties." Teasing is one of those invisible threads. It looks light, it feels harmless, but underneath it carries emotional weight. She's engaging you, she's testing your composure, she's seeing whether you can handle closeness without losing control or overreacting. If you get irritated, you fail the test. If you get arrogant, you misread the moment. If you stay grounded, calm, and amused, you pass. You show her you can handle depth. You can handle emotion. You can handle her. And in a world full of emotional chaos, that steadiness is rare. Let me be clear. Teasing is connection disguised as distance. It's affection in armor. It's interest hiding behind humor. If you understand old Stoic wisdom, you know that strength is shown through restraint. You don't chase meaning, you don't interrogate her, you observe. You let the pattern reveal itself. When the personal joke comes, followed by a quick laugh, while checking your reaction, you're seeing emotional investment. She wouldn't risk teasing you personally if she didn't care about your response. She wants interaction. She wants chemistry. She wants closeness, without exposing herself completely. Modern men often misread this. Some think teasing is disrespectful. Some think it's meaningless. Both are wrong. Context is everything. Tone is everything. Intention is everything. If her teasing feels warm, if it draws you closer instead of pushing you away, if it keeps the conversation alive instead of shutting it down, you are not being mocked. You are being engaged, and engagement is currency. Remember this: attention is rare. Focused attention is even rarer. When she invests energy into playful jokes about you, that is emotional energy directed your way. This is where stoicism matters. An iron mind doesn't react impulsively. It interprets calmly. You respond with light humor. You escalate gently. You show that you're not shaken. That is attractive. That is magnetic. Marcus Aurelius taught, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Her teasing is the outside event. Your reaction is your power. Master that, and you master the interaction. Here's the deeper truth most men miss. The things she teases you about are often the things she admires or finds endearing. She may joke about your seriousness because she secretly respects your discipline. She may poke fun at your routine because she feels safe around your consistency. She may point out your awkward moments because she finds them genuine. People tease what fascinates them. They tease what occupies their thoughts. They tease what they feel strongly about but aren't ready to admit. Repeat this in your mind. It is not random. It is not random. It is not random. When teasing is specific, consistent, and wrapped in warmth, it signals emotional proximity. She keeps you close without directly confessing closeness. That strategic vulnerability. That subtle attachment. When you understand this, you stop reacting like a confused boy. You start responding like a composed man. You don't overthink, you don't assume, you observe patterns over time. Consistency reveals the truth. In today's world where everyone fears looking too eager, teasing becomes a safe bridge. It allows flirtation without exposure. It allows bonding without labels. It allows desire without declaration. If you could decode that, you gain an advantage. Not over her, but over confusion. Clarity is power. Emotional intelligence is power. An iron mind is power. Here's your instruction. When she teases you personally and laughs it off, don't brush it aside. Don't take it personally. Decode it. Watch her eyes. Notice her timing. Measure her consistency. Stay centered. Stay amused. Stay unshaken. That calm presence deepens attraction. That restraint builds respect. That awareness separates the reactive from the composed. This is old Stoic wisdom applied to modern love. This is Stoicism lived in real conversations. This is how you build an iron mind in moments most men misread. When you understand that teasing can be a hidden love letter, you stop fixating on the surface and start reading between the lines. And when you master that skill, you don't just understand women better, you master yourself. And the man who masters himself always wins. 4. She mirrors you, but acts like it's accidental. She mirrors you, then pretends it just happened naturally. That's not random. That's not coincidence. When a woman has feelings she isn't ready to admit, her body speaks before her words ever do. And if you understand even a few psychology tricks rooted in female behavior, you'll notice it clearly. She begins to adopt your rhythm. Your phrases slip into her vocabulary. Your humor becomes her humor. Your posture, your pace, your energy. She subtly aligns with all of it. Don't dismiss this as mere politeness. Observant mirroring is one of the oldest bonding behaviors in human connection. It's how trust forms. It's how attraction deepens. It's even part of how people fall in love without realizing it. When she laughs a split second after you do. When she starts enjoying the music you casually mentioned. When she mirrors your tone during serious conversations, then that's emotional synchronization. And no, it's not staged. It's subconscious. Her nervous system is trying to match yours because, on a deeper level, she feels safe and connected. Here's the key. She will act like it's accidental. She will downplay it. She will behave as if she just happens to agree with you or randomly picked up the habit. Don't underestimate that pattern. In female psychology, alignment is intimacy. When a woman consistently adapts to you across different situations, that signals emotional investment. You must look for repetition. One shared laugh means little. A repeated shift in tone to match yours. A pattern of shared expressions. A steady synchronization of mood. That is meaningful. When you're calm, she softens. When you're excited, she brightens. When you're reflective, she slows down and listens with intention. This is not performance. This is attunement. And attunement is one of the clearest psychology tricks the human brain uses to bond. Don't confuse this with manipulation. It's not about control. It's about connection. Her mind is building rapport because she feels something deeper than casual interest. She may not be ready to say, "I care about you." She may not even fully understand the depth of her own feelings, but her behavior reveals it. This is how love grows quietly, by synchronizing before confessing. And here's where many men miss it. They assume she's just agreeable, just friendly, just easygoing. Wrong. Casual friendliness is inconsistent. Hidden affection is steady. It appears again and again without conscious effort. If she mirrors you in private conversations, in group settings, in subtle everyday moments, that is not an accident. That is emotional gravity pulling her towards you. Pay attention to timing. If you shift your mood and she follows within moments, if you share a personal dream and she leans in, adjusting her energy to match your vulnerability, that is investment. Her brain is saying, I want to stay connected, even if pride or fear keeps her from admitting it. In female psychology, closeness often begins with imitation, not dramatic declarations, not bold confessions, quiet alignment. Think about it. Children naturally mirror those they trust. Friends mirror each other. Lovers mirror constantly. It's one of the oldest psychology tricks wired into human bonding. When she starts orbiting your emotional space, tuning herself to your frequency, she's not losing herself, she's inviting connection. Don't ignore that invitation. Stay steady, stay grounded. If you overreact or tease her for copying you, she will pull back. Remember, mirroring is vulnerability disguised as normal behavior. She's showing her interest in the safest way possible, and you must respond with maturity. When you notice her picking up your expressions or subtly adjusting her posture to match yours, don't call it out playfully to embarrass her. Don't make it a spectacle. Simply stay present and let the connection grow. That is how love develops with depth instead of drama. Consistency is the difference. If she mirrors you once, it's coincidence. If she does it repeatedly, like across time, moods, and settings, that's alignment. And alignment is emotional closeness forming in real time. Be sharp enough to notice. Many men miss these subtle signs because they're waiting for obvious gestures, grand statements, direct admissions, clear declarations. Hidden affection rarely announces itself loudly. It moves quietly, it synchronizes, it adapts. It draws closer in small, almost invisible ways. If you understand these psychology tricks, you won't need her to spell it out. Watch how she adjusts when you talk about something meaningful. Notice how her body angles towards you during conversation. See how her laughter matches your tempo. Pay attention as her interests gradually overlap with yours. That's not random. That's emotional alignment unfolding. In female psychology, connection often feels safest when it grows naturally out of the spotlight. She lets her behavior reveal what her words cannot yet express. Don't dismiss the subtle magnetism. Don't assume it's just her personality. Be attentive. Be emotionally steady. When you recognize consistent mirroring, you're seeing affection that hasn't found its voice yet. If you handle it with calm confidence, without pressure, you allow that hidden feeling to grow. That's the power of awareness. That's the difference between guessing and knowing. When you see the pattern, you stop chasing validation and start responding with understanding. And that understanding is what turns subtle alignment into something real. If this opened your eyes, don't just sit on it. Awareness is power. The next time she mirrors your energy, your words, your rhythm, don't dismiss it as coincidence. Recognize it. Respect it. Move with calm confidence. If you're serious about understanding attraction on a deeper level, like this video, subscribe for more insight and share it with the man who needs to see what he's been missing. Drop this in the comments right now to lock it in. When she mirrors me, she's revealing what she can't say. I own the awareness. That's how you stop guessing and start knowing. 5. She tests you with subtle emotional experiments. She tests you, not with loud challenges, not with dramatic confrontations. Quiet experiments that almost feel accidental. You must understand this clearly. When a woman is hiding deep feelings, she doesn't confess. She observes. She measures. She studies your reactions like a scientist studying results. You might notice she brings up a sensitive topic and casually asks your opinion. She watches your face. She listens to your tone. Or she sets a playful boundary. Don't tease me about that. Then she waits. Will you respect it? Will you push? Will you dismiss it? That moment is not random. That is data collection. Don't laugh it off. Don't overreact. Be steady. Sometimes she shares something slightly vulnerable. Not her deepest fear, not her biggest dream, just a small crack in the armor. I don't usually tell people this, she might say. Then pause. That pause is the test. If you rush in with judgment, advice, or sarcasm, she notices. If you stay calm, attentive, and respectful, she notices that too. That's how a high-value man separates himself from the crowd. He doesn't panic. He doesn't perform. He responds with grounded, masculine energy. On the surface, these moments feel casual. Look closer. This is a hidden map of her heart, and you are navigating it step by step. Women who conceal their feelings often fear rejection more than men realize. So instead of saying, I like you, she asked herself, if I show him a piece of me, will he handle it with care? Will he notice? Will he stay consistent? Each small scenario is a calculated emotional risk. Do not mistake testing for hostility. Don't label it as games. It's not about control. It's about safety. She wants closeness, but she doesn't want to feel exposed without protection. So she measures your stability. Can you handle her emotions without overreacting? Can you respect her boundaries without feeling challenged? Can you remain centered? That is what she's really evaluating. A high-value man understands this instinctively. He doesn't crumble under subtle pressure. He doesn't chase approval. He holds his frame. That masculine energy signals security. And security is what allows her to lower her guard. If you want to attract women on a deeper level, you must master emotional steadiness. Not loud confidence. Not flashy charm. Calm, controlled presence. Watch what happens when you pass one of her subtle tests. Her tone softens slightly. Her eyes linger a fraction longer. Her body language opens up. She may tease you less sharply. She may lean in more during conversation. That's not coincidence. That's reward. That's her heart quietly saying, I'm noticing you. I care about how you respond. Here's what most men miss. If she continues testing, it means she's still engaged. Indifference requires no experiments. A woman who feels nothing doesn't measure your reactions. She doesn't care enough to test. Testing means investment. Testing means curiosity. Testing means she's considering you as someone who might matter. Do not become defensive. Do not treat it like a competition. Be composed when she playfully challenges you. Smile calmly when she shares something vulnerable. Listen fully when she sets a boundary. Respect it without hesitation. That is strength. That is maturity. That is masculine energy in its healthiest form. Understand this clearly. Every subtle emotional experiment is her way of asking, are you safe? If your reaction is steady and thoughtful, she feels relief. Relief turns into comfort. Comfort turns into attachment. That's how emotional bonds form quietly. That's how you attract women without chasing. You must also notice patterns. One small test could mean nothing. Repeated small scenarios where she gauges your reactions, That means she is measuring long-term potential. She's not looking for perfection. She's looking for consistency. A high-value man isn't flawless. He's reliable. His responses don't swing wildly with mood. He's steady. Do not rush the process. When you respond well, don't demand acknowledgement. Let her soften at her own pace. The lingering glance, the warmer tone, the playful smile that lasts a little longer. Those are the unspoken confirmations. If you want to truly attract women who are emotionally intelligent and guarded, you must become the kind of man who passes these quiet tests without even realizing they were tests. Calm, grounded, respectful, strong, without being forceful. That is the masculine energy that creates safety. Remember, this testing is not distance. It's evaluation. It's desire wrapped in caution. When you handle it correctly, you don't just pass the test. You become the man she slowly feels safe enough to love. 6. She acts indifferent in public, but reveals cracks in private, and makes small sacrifices. Listen closely because this is where experience separates confusion from clarity. One of the most powerful signs that she doesn't want you to know she loves you. In public, she appears composed, almost indifferent. Yet in private, she softens and makes quiet little sacrifices that you barely notice. In front of friends, coworkers, or family, she is measured, controlled, neutral. Her laughter is polite. Her body language is reserved. Her words are carefully balanced. She won't lean in too much. She won't expose too much. She protects her image. She protects her heart. But when the room empties and it's just you, something shifts. The tone softens. Eye contact lingers. The smile lasts a fraction of a second longer than it should. These are not accidents. They are controlled releases of emotion. If you understand old Stoic wisdom, you know this. What is restrained is often more powerful than just is openly displayed. As Marcus Aurelius said, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Her restraint is not distance, it is tension, and tension reveals investment. Do not misunderstand. Don't assume public composure equals lack of feeling. That is a rookie mistake in modern life. A world where social media magnifies everything, where people judge quickly, where vulnerability can become gossip. Many women guard their emotions carefully. Public affection feels exposing, risky. She doesn't want to look foolish. She doesn't want to appear overly invested before she feels safe. So she stays composed. That composure is a shield. Privately, with no audience, no performance, no external pressure, she allows small cracks to show. And those cracks are gold. An iron mind observes contrast. An iron mind notices patterns. She listens more closely when you speak. She mirrors your tone. She leans in subtly. She asks deeper questions. That shift between public neutrality and private warmth is not random. It is selective vulnerability. Here is where most men fail. They crave public validation. They want obvious signs. They want declarations. But hidden love rarely announces itself. It whispers. It shows itself through behavior. Through small sacrifices, through effort. She might rearrange her schedule just to see you, but she'll say, "Oh, I was free anyway." She remembers how you take your coffee. She sends you an article related to something you mentioned casually. She adjusts little parts of her routine to align with yours. She doesn't highlight it. She doesn't demand credit. She downplays it. Understand this clearly. People don't give up time, attention, or comfort for someone they feel nothing for. Seneca wrote, Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness. But kindness that's repeated, targeted, consistent, that is investment. Be sharp. Don't get distracted by theatrics. A woman who feels nothing will not bend her world for you. She won't remember small preferences. She won't protect your reputation in front of others. She won't suddenly defend you when someone jokes at your expense. She won't check in on you after a long day. Indifference requires no effort. Hidden love does. And in Stoicism, when we study this deeply, emotion expressed under control is stronger than emotion displayed impulsively. Old Stoic wisdom teaches that discipline does not erase feeling, and it refines it. Now, why the split behavior? Why the public shield and private softness? Because love creates risk. Risk of rejection, risk of embarrassment, risk of losing control in the dynamic, especially for mature women navigating modern relationships. Reputation matters. Emotional safety matters, so she tests the environment. She observes how steady you are. Can you handle subtle affection without demanding more? Can you appreciate her effort without exposing her vulnerability? This is where your iron mind must operate. Do not pressure. Do not confront her publicly with, "Why are you different when we're alone?" That destroys trust. Instead, stay grounded, calm, present. Let her feel safe, revealing more over time. In today's world of instant gratification, many men expect instant clarity, but real connection unfolds slowly. It builds in layers. A woman secretly in love will protect the connection before she protects her pride. She will prioritize you quietly. She will offer emotional availability in controlled doses. She will share small personal details when alone, but avoid oversharing in groups. That contrast is intentional. That is strategy mixed with emotion. That is care wrapped in caution. Here's your instruction. Do not chase louder signals. Observe consistent behavior. Consistency is truth. Words fluctuate, moods fluctuate. Public demeanor fluctuates. But consistent effort does not lie. If she consistently finds ways to be near you in private, consistently supports you quietly, consistently makes subtle adjustments to make your life easier, then understand, you are not imagining it. As Epictetus taught, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. She may not explain her feelings, but she embodies them. This is where you rise. You do not become needy. You do not demand public validation. You remain steady. That steadiness attracts deeper trust. That careful attentiveness invites greater vulnerability. In Stoicism, we first master ourselves. We control our reactions. We observe without panic. We respond without insecurity. That is how you win in modern relationships. That is how you build quiet power. Let me say this clearly. Public indifference paired with private warmth is not confusion. It is caution. Small sacrifices repeated over time are not coincidence. They are confession. Hidden love is expressed in actions, not announcements. See it, respect it, match it with calm strength. When you operate with an iron mind, you stop misreading subtle affection as rejection. You stop overreacting to surface behavior. You look beneath, you measure patterns. You understand that true emotion often hides behind discipline, and that understanding gives you power, not over her, but over your own responses. That is mastery. That is maturity. That is old Stoic wisdom applied to modern love. So move wisely. Appreciate the private softness. Protect her vulnerability. Reward effort with presence, not pressure. If she is quietly rearranging her world for you, quietly remembering details, quietly investing emotional energy, then your job is simple. Remain steady. Be safe. Be consistent. Be strong in silence. Because when a woman loves but fears exposure, she will not shout it. She will show it. And only a man who has mastered himself will recognize the message hidden in plain sight. Conclusion: 6 signs. She doesn't want you to know she loves you. Psychology tricks. Step back and look at the full pattern. She remembers the smallest details about you. She pulls away right after a deep moment. She teases you. She mirrors you. She tests you. She acts differently in public than in private and makes quiet sacrifices. When you see all of this together, you start to understand the truth. She's not cold. She's not confused. She's protecting something real. She feels more than she's ready to admit, and that fear makes her love subtle instead of obvious. Listen carefully. Love is not always loud. It doesn't always announce itself with dramatic words or grand gestures. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it hides behind jokes. Sometimes it tests your strength to see if you're steady enough to handle it. If you've truly been paying attention, you'll notice the difference between indifference and hesitation. That awareness alone puts you ahead of most men. Here's my sincere advice. Don't rush her. Don't pressure her to confess what she's still learning to trust. Stay calm. Stay grounded. Be consistent. When you respond with patience instead of ego, strength instead of insecurity, you create safety. And when she feels safe, what was hidden no longer needs to hide. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this resonated with you, stick around. There's a lot more depth to understand, and you're more than capable of noticing what others miss. Stay sharp. Stay steady. I'll see you in the next video.